Welcome back. The U.S. military is making, quote, limited progress in using and gaining the benefits of predictive maintenance, according to the Government Accountability Office. Pentagon's had policy in place for predictive maintenance since 2002. Egon Rinderer is Chief Technology Officer at Shift5. Egon, welcome. It's great to see you.
Appreciate it.
What tools does the military have now that they haven't always had or haven't had enough of to help them with that?
It runs the gamut. I think there's still big chunks of the military that are running on legacy systems, and then we've sort of bolted on over the years everything from electronic maintenance records all the way up to some more advanced capabilities. We've certainly made inroads over the past 36 months in terms of putting kind of a horizontal data layer and real automation in place to try to bring things up to above the status quo and get things where they need to be more efficient, more effective.
What's the quality of the data that you're seeing that those military leaders have to make decisions with?
Boy, it depends. The more advanced the platform is, the better the quality of data in a lot of cases. That's not a universal rule by any means. So if you think about the military as an apparatus to project force, right, we do that with lots of different platforms, everything from somewhat legacy ground vehicles that are slinging things over relatively short distances to fifth-gen fighters. And the data quality is somewhat represented by the age of the platform, but not always. And I think even within some of that newer equipment and the newer platforms that the military has, there's still a challenge of getting the data into a place where it can be effectively utilized and also into a format where it can be leveraged.
When you talk about legacy, are you talking about the platforms themselves, or are you talking about the IT infrastructure, the backbone, or both maybe?
It's more the former. So you have to think about, even going back 10 to 15 years, think about the drive to get data from the OT side of a platform. People just weren't thinking about that. It's only been somewhat recently, and certainly on more advanced platforms, that we've cared enough about that to try to start designing that into the system. And I think we're making very good progress at that on a national level, but we also can't forget about the fact that we have trillions of dollars worth of legacy equipment out there that's, a lot of times those sorts of things have a 40, 50-year lifespan. Look at B-52 as a great example, right? Going through yet another retrofit, they want to get another 20 years out of it, and that's an aircraft that rolled off the assembly line starting in the 50s.
That's such a critical part of the arsenal that you want to retrofit it.
Absolutely.
How does one decide what's worth retrofitting and what's not?
Yeah, I think it's a question of maintainability, certainly. Once there is a curve at which the ability to maintain a platform becomes prohibitively expensive for all intents and purposes. There's also a question of effectiveness of the platform. Do I have something better or enough better at a reasonable cost that it balances out, and I can say, okay, retire this or mothball it, which I think we tend to do more frequently. Let's mothball this. We'll use the new platform, but we keep this in reserve should we need to pull it out and dust it off.
What are the greatest areas of potential that maybe the military is not leveraging to the degree that it could, and how does it go about leveraging that potential?
Yeah, so look, at a fundamental level, this is a data problem, and we're very used to, in the world of IT, in the DoD, we're very used to data problems, and I think we've done an effective job at wrapping our hands around it and starting to get that under control. In the world of heavy platform and weapon system OT, it's nascent at this point. The idea of having effectively an API, if you will, for an aircraft or for a ship or for a submarine or a big ground vehicle is foreign to most. But if we can demonstrate the efficacy of that and say, look, we have established systems of authority at the OSD level into which this type of data belongs, and we can equip you with the tooling necessary to get the data out and get it into that system, this is the net effect that we can have on fleet readiness and cost of maintenance, right? And effectively 2 lines on a chart. I want to try to drive cost down, readiness up. If I can do either of those effectively, that's fantastic. If I can do both of those things simultaneously, I've completely changed the paradigm for the DoD.
30 seconds left. Who are the stakeholders here? Because it sounds like this is something
Sure.
that goes all the way down to the depots.
Yeah, it does. Certainly, it's the 3 and the 4 shops, if I may, right? To use nomenclature that some will understand. Right, it's the maintainers and the operators of these platforms, but it's also in large part it's DoD at the top level to say, look, this is important enough. We're going to establish systems of record for this, and we're going to mandate places to put this data in and start making use of it.
Egon Rinderer, thanks very much for
You're very
joining us.
welcome.
Great
Thank
to have
you.
you on the program.